Europe just allocated 1.4 billion euros to build their own ChatGPT competitor. But here's the shocking part. They're already 18 months behind China's DeepSeek.
Wait, Europe's spending billions to catch up to China and the US in AI? Why does this feel like a digital space race nobody's talking about?
Because whoever controls AI controls the future economy. And right now, Europe's entire tech sector depends on foreign AI they can't see inside, can't regulate, and can't trust.
Welcome to the AI Daily Podcast. Today's news and a deep dive to help you stay ahead in AI.
Today we're diving into the race to build the DeepSeek of Europe is on.
Let's dive right in.
So let's talk about what might be the most important geopolitical tech story unfolding right now. Europe scrambled to build its own DeepSeek moment. And Alex, this isn't just about national pride or regulatory sovereignty anymore. DeepSeek just proved you can build competitive AI without Silicon Valley's playbook.
Right, and the timing is fascinating. DeepSeek drops these models that are matching GPT-4 performance at a fraction of the cost, and suddenly every European policymaker is asking, why can't we do that?
Exactly. And here's what makes this particularly interesting. Europe has been talking about digital sovereignty since 2016. They've built the regulatory frameworks, they've got the talent pool, they have the capital, but where's their ChatGPT? Where's their DeepSeek?
Well, when you put it that way, it does seem like they've been all talk and no action. But is that fair? I mean, Mistral AI raised 600 million euros last year. That's not nothing.
You're right, it's not nothing, but let's put that in perspective. OpenAI has raised over $13 billion. DeepSeek reportedly achieved their breakthrough with just $6 million in compute costs. So the question becomes, is Europe playing the wrong game entirely?
That's a great point. Are they trying to outspend Silicon Valley when they should be out-innovating them?
That's exactly the tension. And it gets more complex when you consider the three-way dynamic here. You've got the US with its venture capital machine and big tech resources. You've got China with state backing and a different approach to data privacy. And then Europe trying to chart this third path with privacy-first, democratically aligned AI.
Which sounds noble, but can you actually build competitive AI with one hand tied behind your back by GDPR and the AI Act?
That's the billion-dollar question, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We're not just talking about who builds the best chatbot. We're talking about who controls the foundational technology that's going to power everything from defense systems to healthcare to financial markets.
And Europe's dependency on U.S. cloud providers and Chinese manufacturing makes this even more precarious, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Think about it. Most European AI startups are training on AWS or Google Cloud, using NVIDIA chips that might be restricted tomorrow, competing against companies that have 10x their resources. It's like trying to build a space program while renting someone else's rockets.
So what changed? Why the sudden urgency now?
Three things converged. First, the Ukraine war made technological independence a national security issue overnight. Second, the U.S. chip export restrictions showed Europe they could be cut off from critical tech. And third, and this is key, DeepSeek just proved you don't need to play by Silicon Valley's rules to win.
That DeepSeek story really is remarkable. They basically said, forget the conventional wisdom about needing massive compute and found clever optimizations instead.
Right. And that's given European leaders hope. If a Chinese team can build GPT-4 level performance with 6 million instead of 100 million, maybe Europe's constraints could actually force innovation rather than prevent it.
But hope isn't a strategy. What would a European AI champion actually look like in practice?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Coming up, we'll dig into exactly what Europe's trying to build here. Not just another open AI clone, but something fundamentally different. We're talking about AI models that are transparent by design, that can explain their decisions for regulatory compliance, that handle multilingual data natively because, well, Europe.
So Europe could potentially leapfrog by focusing on efficiency rather than scale?
Potentially, but there are serious challenges. Let me give you some numbers. The EU has about 95,000 AI researchers. The US has 290,000. China has 360,000. But here's the kicker. Europe produces more AI research papers per capita than either the US or China. The talent is there. The problem is keeping it.
Brain drain to Silicon Valley?
Massive brain drain. A senior AI researcher at Google or Meta can make $500,000 to $1 million a year. The same researcher at a European university might make 100,000 euros. Mistral is trying to compete by offering significant equity stakes, but it's tough when you're up against big tech compensation packages.
What about the regulatory angle? Is the AI Act helping or hurting here?
It's complicated. On one hand, the AI Act creates compliance costs that could slow down European startups. On the other hand, it might create a protected market. If you build AI that's compliant by design, you have a huge advantage selling into European markets where US and Chinese companies might struggle with regulations.
But doesn't that just create a walled garden? You'd have European AI for Europe, but it couldn't compete globally.
That's the risk. But there's another way to look at it. GDPR started as a European regulation and became a global standard. Maybe privacy-preserving, explainable AI becomes the global standard too. Imagine if European AI models become the only ones trusted for healthcare, financial services, or government applications worldwide.
That's a compelling vision, but execution is everything. What concrete steps are they taking?
Several initiatives are spinning up. France and Germany are jointly funding AI research centers. There's talk of a European AI cloud infrastructure to reduce dependence on AWS and Google Cloud. The European High Performance Computing Joint Undertaking is building supercomputers specifically for AI training. They've got LMEE in Finland, which is currently the fastest supercomputer in Europe.
How does LMEE compare to what OpenAI or DeepSeek are using?
LMEE has about 0.55 exaflops of performance. For context, Meta is building clusters with 2 to 3 exaflops for llama training. So Europe has capable infrastructure, just not at the same scale. But again, if DeepSeek can compete with clever algorithms instead of raw compute, maybe that's enough.
This is starting to sound more feasible than I initially thought. But what about data? The U.S. has massive data sets from consumer platforms. China has different privacy standards that allow broader data collection. How does Europe compete there?
That's where Europe might actually have an advantage they haven't fully leveraged yet. Europe has incredibly rich multilingual data sets, centuries of digitized cultural heritage, and some of the world's best scientific and technical documentation. They also have strong public sector data sets that could be used for training if properly anonymized. Coming up, we'll talk about how to actually turn these advantages into a competitive AI ecosystem.
So let's get practical. If you're a European policymaker or tech leader listening to this, what should you actually do? What's the playbook?
First, stop trying to build European Google or European OpenAI. That ship has sailed. Instead, focus on what Europe does uniquely well. You've got 24 official languages. Build the world's best multilingual models. You've got strong privacy regulations. Make that a feature, not a bug. Build AI that's trusted by design.
That makes sense. Play to your strengths rather than playing catch-up.
Exactly. Here's a concrete example. European healthcare systems have some of the best longitudinal patient data in the world, with proper consent frameworks already in place. Instead of building another general-purpose chatbot, build the world's best medical AI, one that doctors in Boston and Beijing want to use because it's the only one they can trust with patient data.
What about the talent problem? How do you stop researchers from leaving for Silicon Valley?
You probably can't match Silicon Valley salaries directly, but you can offer something else, the chance to build AI that aligns with their values. Survey after survey shows that European AI researchers care deeply about building beneficial AI. Give them the resources to build AI that's transparent, fair, and privacy-preserving, and some will stay for that mission.
Some, but not all. Don't you need critical mass?
You do, which is why the geographic concentration matters. Right now, European AI talent is scattered across Paris, London, Berlin, Amsterdam. There's a strong argument for picking 1 or 2 cities and going all in. Create a European AI valley where the network effects can actually build.
Like how Shenzhen became China's tech hub.
Exactly. And speaking of China, Europe should study what worked with DeepSeek. They didn't try to outspend everyone. They found clever optimizations, focused on efficiency, and built with constraints in mind. Europe's constraints, regulatory, financial, infrastructural, could force similar innovations.
So what should platform engineers and technologists watch for? What are the signals that Europe is actually succeeding here?
Watch for three things. First, when European AI models start showing up in global benchmarks not just as good for a European model, but actually competitive. Second, when you see US and Chinese companies licensing European AI technology, especially for regulated industries. And third, this is crucial, when European cloud providers start offering AI inference at prices that compete or beat US providers.
That last one's interesting. It's not just about building models, but the whole infrastructure stack.
Exactly. And that's where initiatives like Gaia X become important. It's not just about data sovereignty anymore. It's about having the full stack, from chips to cloud to models to applications that you control. Otherwise, you're always dependent on someone else's infrastructure.
What's your prediction? Will we see a European DeepSeek in the next few years?
I think we'll see something, but it won't look like DeepSeek or OpenAI. It'll be narrower in scope, but deeper in capability. Maybe it's the world's best AI for drug discovery, leveraging European pharma expertise. Maybe it's AI for manufacturing, building on German industrial knowledge. The key is picking battles you can win rather than trying to win every battle.
That's a more nuanced view than just Europe needs its own ChatGPT.
Right, and here's my final thought. The real test isn't whether Europe can build competitive AI. It's whether they can build AI that's competitive while still being trustworthy, transparent, and aligned with democratic values. If they can crack that puzzle, they won't just catch up to the US and China. They'll define what the next generation of AI looks like globally. Because ultimately, the world needs more than one vision for how AI develops. Europe's contribution might not be the biggest models or the fastest chips. It might be showing that there's another way to build this technology. And in a world where AI is becoming critical infrastructure, having multiple approaches isn't just nice to have, it's essential for resilience.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Not just competition, but necessary diversity in how we approach AI development.
Exactly. The race to build the DeepSeek of Europe isn't really about building DeepSeek at all. It's about building something different, something that couldn't come from Silicon Valley or Shenzhen. And if Europe gets that right, we'll all be better for it. Before we wrap up, let's catch up on this week's infrastructure news. There's a fascinating new paper from Archive introducing LMEE, a benchmark and framework for embodied exploration using long-term memory and multimodal LLMs. The researchers developed something called Memory Explorer that combines reinforcement learning with LLMs to help AI agents navigate and remember complex environments.
So we're essentially giving AI agents the ability to build mental maps and remember where they've been. That sounds like a huge step toward more autonomous robotics.
Exactly. The framework allows agents to retain information across multiple exploration sessions, which could be crucial for real-world applications like search and rescue or warehouse automation.
Speaking of real-world applications, Remote just published a case study on LangChain's blog about how they're using LangChain and LangGraph to completely transform their customer onboarding process.
They built what they call a code execution agent that can automatically handle thousands of customer onboardings. The system uses LLMs for reasoning and can actually execute Python code to customize the onboarding experience for each client.
That's brilliant, combining the language understanding of LLMs with actual code execution. It's like having a programmer that never sleeps.
Now, speaking of programmers who don't sleep, there's a sobering piece on Ars Technica about someone who burned themselves out using AI coding agents. The author spent months working with Claude Code, Claude Opus, and Codex, and came away with some hard-learned lessons.
What were their main takeaways?
They compared it to the early days of personal computing. Incredibly powerful, but also demanding in unexpected ways. The author found that while AI agents can dramatically speed up coding, they also require constant oversight and can lead to a false sense of productivity.
So it's not just about the tools getting better, but learning how to work sustainably with them.
Exactly. The author emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries and understanding that AI coding agents are collaborators, not replacements for human judgment.
That wraps up this week's news.
That's our show for today.
If you found this valuable, please subscribe and share with a friend who'd appreciate it.
Drop us a comment with your thoughts on today's topic.
Links to everything we discussed are in the show notes.
Until next time.